Hey, what's up everyone? This is Ill Factor from beatacademy.com. In this video, I'm going to share with you some music production tips while recreating the beat on Eminem's Lucky You. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and focus our attention on the drums. So here I have a drum rack. I'm going to open this up so you can just see how I've balanced out the drums. And I'm going to double click this so we can see the actual sequence. It's pretty straightforward. And then what I'm doing is I've got a couple sounds that I'm using for the specific drum rack kit. I've chosen from my Beat Academy sample pack. Now these are all samples that I've put together from some projects over the past year or so. And this is a sample pack included with all these one-shots, as well as some construction kits, some loops, that you can use in any DAW. So go ahead and click the link below in the description box to download this sample pack. It's absolutely free. It's absolutely yours for free just for watching this video. So just go ahead, click that, and you can download that sample pack today. All right, so once we've got the drums in place, let's go ahead and add an 808 bass line. All right, so I'm going to use an 808 instrument that I've personally put together myself. It's got an 808 sample running through some amp simulation to get some really nice saturation and drive to it. A compressor to just control a little bit of the dynamics. Some EQ to shape the tone. And then we have another compressor for some side chaining at the end. This whole instrument that I've put together, this 808, is also included in the sample pack that I've mentioned earlier. So you just click the link below. It's yours absolutely free. All right, so what we're gonna do is use that last compressor here, and we're gonna side chain the kick drum against the 808, so that every time the kick drum is heard, the 808 kind of just ducks out of the way and then comes right back when the kick drum stops playing. I like doing this because it's gonna give an extra sense of punchiness to the 808. I know it's weird because the 808 is ducking out of the way, but in reality, I get to hear the punchiness or the attack of my kick drum. And so it just has this illusion that the 808 is punching as hard as the kick drum. So I don't want the two of them to clash and to fight with one another. So what I'm going to do is use a sidechain compression to be the first step in the process of creating a nice balance between the kick and the sub. So we're going to choose the drum rack, which is where the drums are located in. And inside that category or that track, choose the actual sound that we're going to use to sidechain. So in this case, the kick drum. And I'm going to go pre-effects. So it's getting the actual signal before any effects are being processed onto the kick drum. So now we have the kick drum set in place to sidechain the 808. Now this is without it. And now this is with it. Now obviously playing around with some of the settings, the attack and the release to getting it to where a sweet spot that you hear yourself. But this is actually one of the first steps that I approach with in getting a good balance between my kick drum and 808, and specifically in urban music or hip hop or trap. I'm really considered I'm considering the thought of making sure that the kick drum and the 808 are sitting well together. So I can also go back into my drum rack, go over to the kick drum itself, and then we can use a little bit of EQing. So I'm going to grab the EQ8, drag and drop that on top of the kick drum, and just make sure I can carve out any maybe subsonic frequency that I want to have the 808 take the spotlight. Now, one way to do this is I like to start all the way on the top, drastic, and then work my way down till I hear both the texture, the body, and the tone of the kick drum. See, right now, if we play it, the kick drum is going to be completely lost. So let's go ahead and scale it back, meaning I'm going higher on the frequency spectrum with my EQ, and I'm just sweeping it down till I can hear the kick and more importantly, until I can feel the kick being at a spot that I like in conjunction with the 808. And now focusing our attention to the bells that we hear on the beat. So I'm going to use Ableton Live's collision instrument for this. I'm going to click and drag that over to my MIDI track. Let's take a listen. A little bit of sound designing to shape the sound to getting it as close as possible to the reference record. So first thing, I'm going to go in here, and what makes collision unique, a unique instrument that's featured in the Ableton Live suite, is that it's able to create more of that mallet and that bell-like percussion type of instrument. So they use these things called resonators, because that's essentially what's happening. The frequencies are resonating to create the type of sounds. And I'm going to go in here, and you have the different types of options or the different types of sounds or textures that you could be using. So let's start with marimba. And we're going to just go ahead and just click on the material. And this is literally kind of changing it from a more organic to more of a metallic type of sound. So when I hear the reference, definitely has a little bit of that high-end metallic bell type of feel. So I'm going to go to the material and raise this up. And I'm going to go ahead and mess around with the decay to extend the length of the note. And then we can go ahead and bring up a little bit of the brightness just to capture some of that high end. And we're going to use a filter later on to even shave the high end. So why even add it if you're going to take some of it away? Well, it does add the texture. I'm just trying to get the original texture close as possible to what I hear in my head. And then we're going to use some effect processing to shape the overall tone. Cool thing is you can add some harmonics to this. And come up with these really cool sounds. So I'll leave it naturally at 0%. And then what I'm going to do is head over to the audio effects, click the auto filter, click and drag that right on top of that, and just take a little bit of the high end off. And choose some filter drive here, some filter saturation. So we'll start with the first one. And then we're going to go ahead and use the compressor for the purpose of just keeping the dynamics under control a little bit. So I'm going to bring down the threshold. So let's bring the attack down so that it won't be so percussive heavy, and bring the release up so that it can give me more of a controlled dynamic performance. And I'm going to raise to make up gain. So I'm going to shape the tone of the bells by using an EQ. So I'm going to grab the EQ8, drag that right after the compressor, and we'll just shape it a little bit. Now after EQing the bells, I'm going to use something to create a little bit of dimension atmosphere. I was thinking reverb, but I think a really short slap delay, maybe even using the filter delay, would be a good fit for this. And my reasoning behind this is because the reverb is going to create more of an acoustic atmosphere that this is in. The delay is going to cause more of like this haunting type of vibe to it, because the signal will be really short and repetitive. So that's why I'm going to go with that. So let's go ahead and choose the filter delay, drag and drop that in here. And for this particular delay, I'm just going to shut off the left and right and the left signal. And what we're going to do is we're going to only affect the right signal of this delay. And we're going to take it off sync and start with milliseconds. So let's go ahead and solo the bells. And now you can kind of hear what I'm saying with that haunting thing, right? So now I'm taking the volume, the actual wet signal, and I'm going to balance that out with the dry. And here's the feedback. We can go a little bit drastic with that if you want to have the delayed signal continuously repeat and repeat and repeat. So if I go ahead and bypass that, let's see what it sounds like. So give some really cool dimension to it just by slightly moving the timing of a millisecond filter delay. And the reason why I'm using the filter delay because it's actually filtering out the signal, and we're only focusing on that specific part of the frequency spectrum. So I like using this delay for that purpose. Now let's see what it all sounds like together. Well, I hope this video has been helpful in any way, and as my gift to you for watching this video, I'd love to send you that sample pack that I've mentioned earlier, which includes some of the drums that you're listening to in this video, as well as the 808 bassline instrument that I've created. Now, this sample pack is filled with construction kits, loops, one-shots, transition effects, and it's 100% royalty free. That means you can download this, use it in your projects, and share the music that you're making with the rest of the world. It works in any DAW, so no matter whether you're on Logic, Pro Tools, your neighbor's washboard, it doesn't matter, it will work. Just simply click the files, drag them into your DAW, and you're good to go. Just click the link below in the description box to download this, or you can visit www.beatacademy.com/pack to download your sample pack today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.